In this video, we're going to show the Intel System Defense Utility. Now, this is a little tool that allows you to manage Intel AMT machines. Now, this is only for Intel AMT machines, so it won't manage anything else. But I want to show the connections between Meshcentral and this tool. So the first thing you'll notice is that there's two machines that actually popped up here automatically. Now, if I close the tool and start up again, I didn't actually enter these machines, they just pop up automatically. And this is because these are two computers that have Intel vPro and Intel AMT, and they're both located on my local network. And so they just pop up. Normally in this tool you right click, you say add computer, you type in the username, password, and IP address, and it just adds a computer. But if you have mesh nodes that are on your local network, then this list gets automatically populated by all those mesh nodes. And the nice thing is even the sleeping computers will show up because the computers that are on will maintain the state of the computers that are sleeping, and so all the computers that are vPro enabled will show up, even if they're not provisioned. Okay, so now the other thing I can do is click connect, and you notice here that this is a little bizarre. I left the password prompt empty, and now it's asking me for the mesh password. And the interesting thing here is that the mesh password will be used to decrypt the AMT password. So as soon as I click OK, this tool basically used that, decrypted the AMT password, filled that field up, and connected correctly. So now I'm connected on this machine, and I can do things like asset management and take a look at my computer, take a look at the event log, or start a terminal if I want to do remote management operations. By the way, if you have the mesh agent installed, you'll notice that the mesh agent has a serial overland, serial port agent here, which is the same one that you can access remotely, and you can shell to DOS over the serial overland port. So that's kind of useful. If you're in normal Windows, if you have Windows loaded, normally you see a blank screen, but when you have the mesh agent installed, this comes bundled for free. Okay, so that's good, and now I can basically discover all my computers on the local network. I can have a single sign-on to all my computers because only with the mesh password I can go ahead and log into all the machines. But now I can do something even cooler. I can click on this login button right here in the Network Discovery tab, or I can say log into Meshcentral right there. It's the same thing. And here I can type in my username and password. This is my web username and password. Say OK. And now I'm logging into Meshcentral using Intel System Defense Utility. And now I have, now you can see, I can click on here if I want the Meshcentral web page. I can create new meshes here. I can edit my mesh credentials and so on. But more importantly, I see all my meshes and all the AMT computers that are in each mesh. So obviously computers that are not AMT will not show up here. So I can click on one of these machines, and this one is really not on my local network. So I'm going to hit connect, and again here it's asking me for the mesh password for this mesh, and I'm going to say OK. And now what it's going to do is, obviously I can't connect to this machine locally or directly, it won't work, so it has to issue a connection over the peer-to-peer network through Meshcentral over the peer-to-peer network to the target machine, and the connection was just established now. Now it's going to start loading data and so on, but just to show you what's going on, I'm going to click back on Meshcentral, and I have this thing called Show Tunnels, and it's currently showing the peer-to-peer tunnels. So local port 2031 is mapped to this remote port machine 1 16992, and you can see there's two TCP connections, and you can see the bytes going in and out and so on. So it's loading information from that AMT machine. In this case it's probably loading the asset management, and it's still loading the event log here, but in a moment the event log will finish loading and display right here. Okay, so that's pretty cool. And by the way, I can do remote control. When I do remote control and start the terminal, the first thing you'll do you'll notice is that a second port route will happen. So I'm just going to start the terminal, and it will pop up. Oh, there you go. And you'll notice that a second route has happened here. 2035 is now mapped to 16994, which is the serial over LAN port. And now I can do serial over LAN commands like reboot, go to BIOS, and so on and so forth, all remotely using this tool. So this is kind of nice because, and of course this terminal is quite powerful. You can do ID redirect, you can reboot the machine to BIOS, go into BIOS settings, and so on. So there's quite a lot of stuff you can do in here. So obviously it's even more powerful because now I can do it over the internet. I don't need to punch any holes in my firewall or anything like that. I just set up this mesh agent on a few of my computers inside my office, and then I can go from home and remotely manage my office computers. By the way, another thing I want to show, I'm going to go back to connections, and you can click here the mesh web interface, click that, mesh route. And what you'll notice is that it connects to 127.0.0.1, port 2031, and I see the AMT page. Now if you look at the tunnels, show tunnels, you'll notice that 2031 on my local machines is routed to this machine 16992, and in fact that's exactly what's happening here. I'm seeing this Intel AMT web page by going to this local port, and then this tool is basically Intel System Defense Utility is basically rerouting the connection over to the web server, to Meshcentral, and then to the right machine using the peer-to-peer mesh. So that's a quick overview of this system defense utility when it comes to using Meshcentral. I hope you appreciate it.